I'm Michael Burke, and this is Money Talks. Hi, welcome to Money Talks, and today we're in the future, at least today is the future. Doobie's beer joint with owner Kevin Dubiak. Overseen, right?
Correct.
Born and raised. Okay. So this is kind of interesting because, as our viewers can see, you've got a little work to do to get it open, but we're looking at late February, you think?
Late February for sure.
Okay. What's your background, and especially, do you have a business background of any kind?
Well, like I said, I was born and raised in Racine. I have my bachelor's degree from Parkside.
Mm-hmm. In what?
In communication.
Oh.
And after college, I was an area sales manager at Dr. Pepper, and then also coincidentally the same position title anyway for CNH Capital.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I used to bartend back in my college and post-college days.
Oh, is that right?
I always knew I wanted to open a bar someday, and the time is now.
Why'd you pick this place? And which, by the way, we should say is the former VRC and before that Vintage Rock Cafe.
Correct.
At Elmwood Plaza.
Correct. Essentially, everybody who's a bar-going person is fully aware of this location.
Mm-hmm.
Can't beat the parking.
Yeah.
The parking's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, you can pack 200 people in this place on a Friday or Saturday night, and they're right there in a well-lit parking lot.
Right.
That was one of the biggest factors.
Uh-huh.
And everybody's, like I said, everybody knows that there's a bar here, essentially. Even a lot of people, even if they don't even realize VRC closed, they're like, oh, VRC's closed, or there's a new bar there. They're still aware exactly that there's a bar here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's an easy transition.
Yeah. Did you want Southside in particular, or not? Was that not a factor?
Yeah, it was a factor.
Because there really aren't any sports bars. Well, of course, if you go down Durand Avenue, eventually you get to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Right, and the thing with Buffalo Wild Wings, obviously, first of all, it's a chain, franchise, or whatever. So that's much more family friendly. And then not too far down the road is Buckets, which is a nice place. I enjoy Buckets, but that's much more of a restaurant bar.
Okay.
And that's not really what this is going to be.
Yeah, and we will talk about food.
Yep.
What do you think is the formula for a sports bar?
Well, first of all, you have to be able to put on all the sports programming that anybody wants to watch. You have to. Somebody walks in and they want to watch the Premiership, English soccer. You got to be able to put it on. Your bartenders have to understand how to work the remotes and turn it all on. Mm-hmm. There's nothing more frustrating than walking into a place and you request something and it doesn't happen.
I never thought about that little detail.
Yeah, that's one of the big things. I think you want to create a fun atmosphere.
Uh-huh. Yeah. The food, you briefly alluded to it. You're going to be less of a restaurant than, say, Bucket. But how are you going to handle food? Because you want some kind of food here.
Yeah. I'm going to work with Bonavita, who's located down at the east end, the far east end of Elmwood Plaza. And it's going to be a little hit or miss. Going to have some kinks in the beginning for sure, but our plan is just to order down, and he's going to have his servers bring it right down to the bar. So instead of it coming out of my kitchen, if you will, it's coming down from a kitchen a 2-minute walk away. And
you'll obviously carry their menus?
Yeah, we're going to scale it down. Otherwise, that'd be really difficult for him for his ordering purposes. So it's going to be simplified, what you'd expect. But they are a pizzeria, so I mean, pizzas, of course, and then things just like burgers and wings and mock sticks and things of that nature.
Yeah. Talk about the process a little bit. People noticed a few guys bringing things in during the show here.
They could have come in the back there, sorry.
But
they're just working.
Yeah.
Those are actually the guys that are from Racing Amusement. They're going to be putting in my surveillance equipment, and they're dropping off the pool tables, and they're the dark machine providers and so forth. What's up, guys? I'm sorry. I got sidetracked there.
So what did you have to do to start the conversion of this place? Actually make the conversion?
Well, first we had to rented a 30-yard dumpster and filled that. I probably could have filled it twice for as much as I then scrapped after that first full. Basically everything went in the garbage. Everything from the physical bar itself, I mean right down to the floor, to every toilet, every sink, everything you could think of was scrapped. There was essentially nothing in here to be
Because
kept.
it was all just old?
It's once upon a time it was nice stuff. It had gotten run down all the time, and it needed to be replaced. And I didn't want to put 80% brand new stuff in, and 20% head scratcher, like you know, put that stuff into while you're
And have you done most of the work yourself?
My biggest help, I've had friends help. I've had even just a guy here or there chipping in a few hours. My biggest help has been my brother Mike. He's helped a ton. I mean, as much as he absolutely can to get away from his home.
And how many months has this project been? And obviously, you're no longer drawing a salary someplace. You just living off savings in the meantime?
Yeah, we're getting down to the nitty gritty. I need to get open and make some money here. Yeah, we started. I actually started just putting my toes in the water back in the beginning of September.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was when I first started looking into demolishing things. I didn't realize it was going to be as much as it was, which is fine.
As much what?
As much work and as many things that were going to need to be replaced as it was.
Oh.
It's once I got going, it was the old peeling away a layer of the onion type thing. I got all the way down to the floor. Layer after layer after layer of things where now I got to replace this, I got to replace this, this is garbage, this won't work. And, which is fine because the finished product is newer and it's nicer, but it took a lot longer than I would have anticipated.
If you had known all that, would you have still gone forward?
Yeah, I would.
I like the pause there, though. You had to think for a second.
Just for a second. But like we talked about earlier, the location, everything it's great. It is what it is. It's just longer than I anticipated it would be.
So let's talk about the drinks a little bit and the beers and the prices while we're at it. So what kind of system are you going to have for tap beers? How many are you going to have?
Okay, I put in a brand new glycol system, and it's going to have 12 taps on it.
And what's a glycol system?
Glycol system is you have two kinds that you can put in. One's forced air, it's shooting cold air up to keep the lines cold, and then the other one is this glycol. And the glycol is great. It keeps it cold all the way from the keg cooler right up until it's where you're pouring it in a pint glass. It's 38 degrees the second you touch the tap. And if it's the first beer of the day, you come in here after it's been closed for 8 hours or 10 hours or whatever, you touch the tap handle, your beer is 38 degrees.
And is that the perfect temperature?
Yeah. And it's a good system. It's pretty much you get what you pay for type thing. But you also, first of all, you're always going to serve great cold beer. You never have any complaints about, I don't know, Doobie's has got, their beer's not cold or whatever. And then also the shrinkage on your barrels is great. You don't have any. So it basically pays for itself.
What do you mean by shrinkage?
Wasted beer.
Oh.
Foam. Foam is wasted beer.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. A good system like this can literally save you 20, 30, 40 ounces out of a keg.
Wow.
And I'm not a master on it. I've had other people, give me different numbers, but I mean, that adds up over time. Those are all beers that you're pouring down your drain because it's foam.
Oh, yeah. And how extensive, hard booze selection do you have?
Just the typical.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty standard for what everybody else will have. I mean, if you ask for it, it's not some off-the-wall thing that no one's ever heard of. We'll have it.
Like how many different kinds of scotches would you carry or something like that?
Several. It'd be all the top ones. If you ask for it and it's at all a common one in any way, or even a little bit beyond common, it will have it.
How many employees will you have, and how much hiring have you done, and what's the process been like?
The hiring's been a little goofy because I've had to set back my target date a few times.
Oh yeah, that makes it tough.
Right, so you don't want to set somebody up to where they think they're going to start in 3 weeks and it ends up being 2.5 months.
Yeah.
So once
I kind of hold back.
Yeah, so once I realized that was happening a couple months ago, I kind of pumped the brakes a little bit on that. And now I've ramped it up again the last couple weeks because now I have a date or a time frame anyway.
And do you do that interview?
A lot of it's people that I already know, and it's not a matter of, it's not going to be all family and friends that work here. It could be it could be a couple bartenders that I'm familiar with from a bar that that I go to, or something like that. So I check people out a little bit, see how they work. I've had a few already that I know I've hired that they're waiting to get going. They're pretty confident that, especially on a Friday or Saturday night, there's a lot of tips to be made. They're excited to go.
Oh yeah. And how many employees will you have?
There's probably going to be about 8 at the beginning.
Yeah. What? By the way, we didn't mention the beer prices. What is it going to cost? Like a pint of beer?
Standard, like straight pricing. Not talking about specials or whatnot. Be typical, like a pint of Miller Lite will be like $2.50. And you go with the next step up where the barrels cost more, it'll be $3. You know, like this would probably be like $3.50.
Well, that's reasonable.
Yeah, they're all reasonable. They're all in line with what everybody else is doing.
Yeah. And then finally, how do you? What's your plan for building a clientele? Because bars tend to have their own sort of group of people that come back over and over again. At least the steady crowd. So how do you start, and what's your plan for building a clientele?
Well, one of the biggest ways for a place like this is to sponsor the sports teams.
Oh.
And that tends to create the atmosphere that you like.
Oh, yeah.
Summer's not too far away. Before you know it, you got all the softball teams coming in, and you got the guys that and girls.
Because they tend to be loyal to the sponsor.
Sure.
Okay.
They're gonna have all brand new shirts and stuff like that. It's not like I have stuff where it's been recycled for 10 years around town. 30 different colors of the same shirt. Everything everybody has is to be all brand new, pretty cool looking gear and so forth. And then you just, they have a good time while they're here. It's meant to be a good time place. This is, like I kind of briefly mentioned earlier, this isn't a place that you're going to come and bring your kids with, to order pizza from Bonavitas to send it down. It's meant to be an adult
sports bar.
It's a sports bar. That's why there's 5 dart machines and 2 pool tables, and it's meant to be come have a good time. It's Friday or Saturday night, live music. If there's not live music, good music on the jukebox. It's meant to be adults come have a fun time.
All right. Well, people, I'm sure will want to check it out when you get open. So we've been with Kevin Dubiak at the future Doobie's Beer Joint. At Elmwood Plaza, behind the camera is Greg Shaver. I'm Michael Burke. Thanks for watching.